My sister-in-law demanded I give up my beach house reservation for her family. I changed the locks instead. Let me explain how we got here, because this wasn't just about a vacation rental. This was about 15 years of boundaries being trampled and me finally learning to say no. When my brother married Veronica, she seemed charming. Sweet smile, polite manners, the kind of person who brought homemade cookies to family dinners. Then they had kids and something shifted. Suddenly every family gathering became about her needs, her schedule, her children's comfort. My parents enabled it completely. If Veronica wanted Christmas moved to accommodate her in-laws, we moved Christmas. If her kids needed the quiet guest room, whoever was staying there got bumped to the couch. I watched this pattern for over a decade, staying quiet to keep the peace. Then last year, I inherited my grandfather's beach cottage. He'd left it specifically to me in his will with a handwritten note saying I'd always appreciated it most. It needed work, so I spent 6 months and $40,000 renovating it myself, learning to tile and paint and fix plumbing. Every weekend driving 3 hours each way, every vacation day spent sanding floors. It became my sanctuary. This summer, I blocked off the first 2 weeks of August for myself. I'd planned it for months, requested the time off from work, and told everyone in the family I'd be unreachable. I needed this. My job as a middle school counselor had been brutal, endless crisis intervention with zero support. I was burned out completely. 3 days before I was supposed to leave, Veronica called. Her usual vacation rental had fallen through and she needed somewhere to take the kids. Could I just give her my reservation? She'd make it up to me. I politely declined, explaining I'd been planning this for months. She laughed like I was joking. When I didn't budge, her voice turned cold. Family helps family, she said. What kind of aunt prioritizes herself over her nieces and nephews? I held firm. She hung up and immediately called my mother, who called me in tears. How could I be so selfish? Those poor children deserved a beach vacation. Couldn't I reschedule? My brother sent a long text about how stressed Veronica was. The family group chat exploded with messages about my selfishness. That night, Veronica posted on social media about terrible family members who abandoned children in need. She didn't name me, but everyone knew. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. I drove to the beach house that weekend just to clear my head. When I arrived, Veronica's van was in the driveway. She'd somehow gotten a key from my parents, who still had my spare from the renovation. Her kids' toys were scattered across my newly refinished deck. She was inside making lunch in my kitchen, acting like she owned the place. Oh good, you're here, she said casually. Can you grab more towels from town? We're running low. Something inside me snapped. I'd spent 15 years swallowing my anger, being the accommodating one, letting her steamroll every boundary. Not anymore. I called a locksmith right there, changed every lock while she stood screaming about how I was traumatizing her children. When my brother arrived an hour later, threatening to call the police, I showed him the deed with my name on it. Legally, they were trespassing. They left, but not quietly. Veronica called me every name imaginable. My brother vowed I'd never see his kids again. My mother sobbed about our family being destroyed. But here's what nobody knew. While changing those locks, I found something hidden in the crawl space. A metal lockbox containing my grandfather's journals from the last 5 years of his life. Page after page detailing family dynamics, describing why he'd left the house to me alone, and 3 sealed envelopes. One had my brother's name, another had my mother's. The third was addressed to Patricia Wells with a P.O. box 200 miles from here. My grandfather had been meticulous, a retired lawyer who documented everything. Whatever was in these envelopes, he'd intended someone to find them. I sat on the porch as the sun set, 3 sealed envelopes in my lap, and realized this beach house battle was about to crack open secrets my family had buried for decades. The journals were dated. I started with the oldest one, 5 years back, right around the time Grandpa had his first stroke. His handwriting was still strong then. Precise lawyer script in blue fountain pen. August 14th. Watch dinner tonight. Counted how many times my son interrupted his daughter to let Veronica speak. 17 times in 1 hour. She's learned to go quiet. Used to be such a bright girl, always asking questions. Now she just nods and smiles. I remembered that dinner. I brought a new boyfriend, someone I'd been excited about. Veronica had monopolized the entire conversation talking about potty training. By dessert, he looked ready to bolt. We broke up 2 weeks later, September 3rd. Called my son to discuss the beach house. Asked if he'd be interested in it when I pass. He said Veronica thinks it should be sold and split between them and their sister. I haven't even died yet and she's already dividing my assets. October 12th. Lunch with my daughter. She cried about how lonely she is. Her husband left last year, but she hasn't told the family because Veronica turns everything into a production. She can't even grieve her own marriage without it becoming about someone else's feelings. My mother, divorced. I'd had no idea. She kept showing up to family events alone, making excuses about dad working late. We'd all just accepted it because Veronica was always having some crisis that needed attention. I flipped ahead, my hands shaking. January 28th. My granddaughter turns 10 today. Called to wish her happy birthday. Veronica answered. Said the party was family only. I'm her grandfather. Apparently family now means whoever Veronica approves of. March 15th. Revised my will today. Thompson thought I was being harsh, but I explained the pattern I've observed. Everything goes to my granddaughter. The beach house, the investments, all of it. She's the only one who hasn't been corrupted by this toxic dynamic. She deserves a sanctuary. Thompson was his longtime attorney. I'd met him at the funeral. A kind man in his 70s who'd squeezed my hand and said Grandpa had talked about me constantly. April 2nd. Veronica called asking to borrow $15,000 for a kitchen renovation.